Welcome back to Unboxing Logistics. It's 2026. Can you believe it? I cannot believe it. This is amazing. Really excited for this upcoming year. All of the numbers are starting to trickle in from our past peak season. I'm really kind of in the height of my nerdiness, loving to check out what happened, what went right, what went wrong. And you will be getting all of that data really, really soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm Lori Boyer, as you know, your host here at Unboxing Logistics. Today, we are kicking 2026 off with a really, really important topic that is really, I think, critical to the success of your business anywhere you are in the logistics and shipping industry. Honestly, in any role, in any position, in any portion of, if you're a carrier, a shipper, if you're a mailer, if you're anything, this topic is for you. We are going to be talking about how this industry is still a people industry. Relationships are massive in this industry and can honestly make or break your success. So I have brought on two of the best motivational, inspirational, getting us kicked off and ready and excited to know how to make sure our relationships are perfect in 2026. I've got Marty and Fahim from AYM High Consultants. Welcome, gents.
Thank you, Lori. We are so excited to be here.
So excited. Yes. I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us each, give us just a minute or two, your background. And then I would love one thing that we're doing here on the podcast is and this is perfect for our episode, we like to shout out other people that we really admire in the industry, someone you've worked with, and tell us why. So let's start with Marty, and then we'll go to Fahim. Tell us who you are, your background a little bit, and who you admire in the industry.
All right, who I admire now. That is that's a big ask, but I can think of someone. My name is Marty Johnson. I've been in this industry since the early 90s. I know it's weird because I look 25, but I'm not. But I've been in this since the early 90s. My parents had shipping stores for about 20 years. Opened the first one in 91. I was a young teenager. And so I worked with them for a long time, ended up managing 3 locations for them. And I went to school, I did other jobs here and there, all that. And they retired and sold their businesses. And at the time, I said, nope, no thanks. I don't want them. I'm done. I'm going to do something else. And I ended up doing consulting in this industry in the independent mail and parcel center, is what it was called at the time. And I ended up working for the association of what was called the Association of Mail and Parcel Centers at the time. When I was there, we changed to the Association of Mail and Business Centers because we realized that this industry has shifted. It's not just shipping at a shipping store anymore, but we're becoming full-on business centers with printing, with all their services. And then when I was there, I decided that, hey, I know what I'm doing when I run a shipping store. So I opened my own, and I had my own for 13 years in Ithaca, New York. And I sold that at the end of 2023 and semi-retired. And now 10 days later, Fahim, my brother from another mother, my dear friend, my colleague, someone with whom I worked for many, many years, about 10 years off and on, and just have an incredible bond with. He and his wife, Seema, and their son, Yusuf, and another colleague, and I started AYM High Consultants. And we now are able to coach specifically in the print mailbox shipping industry and help other stores go from good to great, add a new service, bring out a new thing. We also go to conferences, we speak, we present, we teach classes, we train. So that's a real quick of where I came from, who I admire. And Fahim, forgive me, but I'm not going to pick you, even though I do admire you so much, but that might be a little too easy. But I'm going to pick Seema, who is Fahim's wife, other half, and support behind Fahim. And she's our third colleague now. It's down to the 3 of us coaches at AYM High Consultants. So she's number 3. But she's number 1. You know what I'm saying? Like she's the glue that holds us together. She is a problem solver, a solutions provider. She is the voice of reason that we need a lot of times. We're all 3 of us are dreamers. All 3 of us are doers. But she is the rock and the kind of the litmus test. So when we're working on something, she's who we put things up against. And she's like, yes or no, or this makes more sense or whatever. Seema is is that support that and that's a role I think in any business that's so important. You need the checkers and you need the pushers, you know?
Absolutely. I love that. We all need a team in our business. I need it in my own life too. I can be a dreamer sometimes, and I've got some of my team members who will push back and say, "Okay, Lori, let's think realistically here for a minute."
Yes, yes. That's who Seema is. So I'm gonna say Seema. She's a dear friend of mine. She's a colleague, and she is a rock and a mentor to me. And without her, none of us would be where we are. So
That's awesome. Okay, Fahim.
I'm Fahim Mojawalla, and I've been in this industry officially for about 20 years. I'm the co-owner with my wonderful wife, Seema, as you heard so much about, my rock, and my better half for Island Ship Center in Grand Island, New York, one of the 3 top spotlight stores for the FedEx Authorized Ship Center program. And we started with a garage and a dream and a FedEx authorization number and a fax machine. And 20 years later, here we are. I met Marty in 2015 in Vegas at a trade show, and Seema actually met him in a class and connected us together and was like, "You have to meet this guy. He's just like you, but he's like from a different place." And it's like your brother from another mother. That's exactly what she said. And I was like, "It can't be true. There's nobody who has this much energy as I do." And lo and behold, it was like looking in the mirror, but from a different side of that mirror. We're brothers from another mother. We connected in 2016, really, and for 10 years we've been coaching together, we've been growing together, we've been mentoring together. We have been loving life together. We've been traveling together, and it just felt right because I made so many mistakes the first 10 years of not doing it correctly, not having a mentor, not having a coach, not having direction. So when Seema came on board in 2013, 2014, she said, "We have to turn this business around. You're not making any money." And I made no money for 10 years. And of course, Seema, once again, she was the one who made us, go to Vegas. And she approved that purchase. We closed our store for 1 week. We came back and we did everything that we were supposed to do. We implemented all of the strategies, which 97% of the people don't do. And we grew our business. And in 2019, we were awarded one of the top 3 spotlight stores from FedEx in the country. And we were invited to the FedEx hub. And we have a great connection with FedEx. And we do, of course, UPS and Postal Service in our store. Having done that, as Marty said, we started AYM High Consultants January 10th, 2024. And we've just been assisting others. And the greatest joy is really being honored by these stories of these store owners who implemented our strategies and are soaring. That brings us the greatest joy. I just received 4 different text messages from end of the year updates from our store owners. We have a 100% success rate. Any client that we take on, really, we assist them until they get to that excellence level and beyond. And who I really admire, what's my force, interestingly, are Dub and Cindy Johnson, Marty's parents, who are mentors. They're one of the greatest joys for me and for Seema was when we knew each other through Facebook and interactions, but we officially met in September of 2023 when they came to visit us at an event that was hosted at our place through the Association of Mail and Business Centers. And they both came, and I was able to travel with them and ride with them in their car and go to the parking area and take them to Niagara Falls. It was one of the greatest joys of my life. And then have dinner with them and talk about their stories, their struggles, and what people see now as their success. They told me about what it took to get there, going from manual labor, manual processes, to automation, to selling 3 stores, to raising someone like Marty and beyond. It's a joy to witness them. I wish them long lives, great blessings, and they continue to inspire Seema and me and hundreds and thousands in this industry and beyond.
Oh, I love that. That was so inspirational. I just want to say there were a few things that stood out for me. First, I love that the 2 of you met at a trade show. Trade shows are so important. I'm going to actually throw in, I have a link, I think, of all the trade shows that we'll be at this year. Meeting other people is huge. And I've worked in other industries, and our industry is really unique in that relationships are really, really critical. I also love how the importance of those relationships, the love, the mentorship, really was more important. Even though Fahim, you shared an incredible success story in your business, turned around and you made all this money, but it wasn't about, wow, then I bought a new jet ski, then I got this, it was about the people and it was about the relationships. And honestly, we all know when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, that's really what's important. And we're going to be talking about that. But of course, having great relationships, the best thing is it's like a good, happy side on both sides of the coin. Um, Having great relationships also leads to better businesses, also leads to improved, efficiency and functionality. And really, we're going to talk about that today. What does it mean to create a really people-focused business? And how do you do it in a way that makes your business more successful, doesn't hinder from that? So I want to let's sit back just a minute, and I'm going to throw this question to Marty. How would you define maybe? I want to talk about. I see a lot of people say our industry is very transactional. We're going numbers. We're shooting out printing. Our stickers, our mailing things. We're you go into a warehouse and you can just see packages just flying by. We're a very numbers and transactional kind of industry. So your message is that really this should be a relationship-based industry. What does that mean? What is the difference between relational based and transactional based?
Absolutely. Relational based means that you see that client or guest, and Fahim and I do not use the word customer often
Okay.
because customer is a very transactional word. Someone
Okay,
gives you
great.
money and you give them a service, it's a done deal. A relationship or a client or a guest is someone you welcome into your space, right? You
Okay.
treat them differently than just someone off the street.
Mm.
And a client is someone with whom you have a relationship that you do business over and over again. So we try to use the words guest and client.
Can I just ask really quick? So Fahim, I'm going to ask you, Fahim, what is the importance of the way you call them? What is the importance of the words, I guess?
The importance of the words are essential because transactional is one time and relationship is time and time again consistently.
So client and
And guest
guest.
is an ongoing relationship. When they are a guest, we take it from Disney. Be our guest, right? Put our service to the test. Why do they say that? It's basically from the book, Michael Eisner's book about, be our guest. Marty gifted it to me and we went to town with it. I just wanted to mention one thing about what you were saying in 2023, and feel free to use it if you want to give me credit. I coined a phrase about this with Marty and with Seema at our event, and I said, it's full of alliteration. Relationships reap real results regardless of recessions. And I didn't know what type
Oh, we
of
got to do this
time.
love. Relationships
Relationships
reap
reap
real.
real results regardless of recessions. Do you love it?
I love it. I love
And
it.
and we go to town with it because I didn't know that 2 years later we would be coming down to uncertain financial and economic times. And when that happens, it could be seen as an obstruction or an opportunity. Two of my words for 2026 are opportunity and generosity. And that's all through relationships. If I use the word customer in our building, everybody knows from my team that it's a one-time done deal. I don't like that person. We put notes on it and we spell it with an O, CO, like costumer. He or she costs us money to do the service. So it's a one-time thing. Please let them go. They are welcome to go elsewhere. And interestingly enough, when we send them elsewhere, they don't get the service that they do here. So my team comes first. Our guests are second. That's another thing we do. So if someone is not treating our team well, then they go from the guest to the customer category.
So Marty, that simple paradigm of switching the way you're viewing people that you're interacting with now as this kind of two-way relationship, you're both getting something out of this, relationship instead of just my customer's paying me and I get money and they're
Yes.
gone, right? Um, Yeah, so that's sort of your first step. Is that what you were saying when it comes to building a relationship-based business?
It is, yeah, and Fahim said it better than I could, but it's all about seeing someone's value, not at the current sale, but their long-term value. So we always try to get our clients and our team members to think about a person as creating an advocate for your business, not just making a sale. But we want to take someone, we had a good mentor, Sarah, who taught a class years ago, and she said, we want to go from satisfied guest to loyal advocate. So we don't want someone to just be satisfied with the service. We want them to be so blown away with the service that they receive. Shipping is a very transactional, traditionally business. It's mundane. It's just like I got to ship something. I got to go to that counter, and they're just going to be rude to me. The whole thing. But when you pivot that and you make it an experience that they're not going to forget and treat them great, give them a cookie, you just have a great experience that they love. They're going to go out and tell all their friends and family, "Wow, I just had a great time shipping a package or printing or whatever it was." And it takes your business from here to like way beyond because people are then talking about it and people are coming in to experience what you have to offer.
How do you get staff, so for instance, on board with this? I know I can just see, I have 20-something kids who may be working jobs and rolling their eyes and being like, "This is so cheesy, like, I don't care about this person," especially if
Yep.
it's like a part-time, how do you get everybody bought into this vision?
Our number one rule is hire the smile, train the skills. Hire the smile, train the skills. So it starts with who you bring on board, right? And personality has to be number one. Heart, authenticity, care has to be number one. You're not going to hit the nail on the head every single time. And another thing is you have to be okay with letting someone go early on if you just know they're not a good fit, which is a struggle for me and something that I did not always succeed at. But, I think that is the most important thing, like, an authentic staff is so important. It also comes down to treating your team members correctly, paying them well, giving them, just whatever they need and respecting them, empowering them, allowing them to have a part of the business that they own in regards that, like, they're allowed to make decisions there, and you are empowering them to do so. You're not micromanaging them so much. And these are not things that I'm inherently good at. These are lessons I've learned over the years.
I caught a few little things there that I'm gonna share, and then Fahim, I wanna hear if you have anything to add to that. But first, start at the hiring process. I think you said hire for the smile, train with the skills. I am a huge believer on that. When I hire people for my team, I am looking for the right fit, the right personality, the right way of thinking, the right, specialty, it's sort of research and are you curious and are you that can't be trained as easily. So, um, but then also that willingness to let people go when they're not a good fit, which is hard. And then the third piece being that really it has to start with you being authentic yourself. Right, and I think that is sometimes a key. That's another area where I will get people just kinda rolling their eyes like, "Oh, we have these company values that nobody really follows," And so, Fahim, is there more that you would add to that?
Seema and I try to lead by example, and we have a 6-month probation for anybody that we hire. And it's basically to see if not just if they're a good fit, but if they like what they have. We have a very different, specific, awesome culture, but there's a lot of demand on that culture. So from the top down, we've gone through 14, 15 different people over the past 5, 6 years to find the right team members. And I just completed another interview before this recording for a new team member that will be onboarding in January. And we hired for the smile, we hired for the mindset, we hired for the willingness to learn. So there's 6 qualities that we go over: hunger, being hungry, humble, coachable. That's from Mr. Lencioni's book, and then from Warren Buffett. 3 from Warren Buffett: intelligence, integrity, and enthusiasm. And if you have all 6, everything else can be taught in any industry. If you
Yes.
take these 6 things, I look for it in my potential son-in-laws. I look for it in my existing daughter-in-law. I look for it in, it's a beautiful thing. And because we're talking about relationships, it applies to life as well, Lori.
Can you say those 6 things one more time so that we make sure we don't miss them? What are the 6 characteristics when you are hiring? These are the 6 things you need to be looking for.
So being hungry, humble, coachable, having integrity, enthusiasm, and intelligence.
I love it. What are some ways that you can kind of look and identify these? Are there questions you use that are like secret tools? I know one thing, for instance, that I ask is I'll say, let's say you've come upon this problem. What would you do? What is your process to see if how their critical thinking skills might be in terms of the hungry? Are they going out and trying to find solutions? That kind of stuff. Do you have any tips for people? How do you identify that they have some of these characteristics?
We do. And I'm going to refer to Marty, and I'm also going to just plug in for anybody who wants to get them. For our coaching clients and even people who reach out to us, we have a whole interview list that Marty made at his store. And they can reach out to, at aimhigh.com, contact us, and get a free list of interview questions when you're interviewing. One of the ones that I really love is Marty's going to elaborate on it about what happened on the way to the interview and how they got there and how to assess the positivity or negativity of the person. Go ahead, Marty.
Because I was just going to say that's one thing. The first thing we say is, how was your trip in? And that tells you everything you need to know. That's the interview right there, essentially. They will either be like, oh, it was great. It was a beautiful day. And I sat next to this lovely person on the train, or I did this or whatever. Or they'll be like, oh, traffic was terrible and I woke up late. And their attitude in response to that simple question before they think the interview has actually started, because the interview has actually started, really is your litmus test to how they are going to interact with you, with your other team members, and with your guests and clients. And that is really, it's very simple, but that will tell you most things you need to know.
Smart. I love that. Okay. So we've hired good people. Now let's pretend we're having a day when everything hits the fan. Okay. How do we work in a relationship-based business? So if we are focused on relationships, but we are super stressed out, right? Some bad things are happening. Everyone's under pressure. What should that look like in a people-first relationship-based business?
I would say that you, regardless of what's going on, you need to remain authentic. So from my experience, I've had those days. I've had tons of those days, and there have been times when I've lost it emotionally in front of my team, in front of my guests, in front of my clients. I remember distinctly one time I don't even remember what was going on because it really doesn't matter now, but I just started crying. I was trying to help someone in the thing and I'm just there. And they were just like, stop. They give you a big hug and they were like, it's going to be okay. And we can put on our customer service face, as someone said one time, which is important in a lot of times. But honestly, a little transparency with, and I'm sorry, I just need to take a beat. Can you wait a minute? I need to collect myself in the bathroom and come back. And I've done that a number of times as well when things are really bad. Um, Stress management is not easy for everybody, and people have different things that complicate that. But being willing to say, hey, I need to take a beat. I need to just go step back into my office for a minute or two. And this is also where having a team come in is essential, that they can pinch hit for you when they need to. But for many years, both of us, we ran our businesses solo. We didn't have a full team. And once you have a team, you realize what a blessing it is. But before that, sometimes you just need to, I've locked the door at times because I just needed a minute, and it's okay to take a minute.
I love that. I can't say how much I love that. The authenticity, the willingness to be vulnerable, to not try to seem like you have it all together. To me, it seems that it would open up and create an environment where other people can share. Fahim, do you have anything to add to that?
Open communication,
Okay.
mutual respect, empathy, and collaboration. For example, it happened yesterday. One of our newer team members misdirected or mislabeled a package that was supposed to be in an envelope for FedEx. It was a pack and all these things. So after the fact, we explained the entire situation to her privately, my wife and I, and explained to her that, look, this was a $20 mistake, quote unquote, on the front side of it. It cost us $3. I took $5 from the tip jar and I said, XYZ team member, I paid this for you. Next time, it just goes out from your pocket, but it's not going to happen. This is not going to happen next time. This is how we train our team. Marty has an amazing 80% rule. When you hire people that are able to do 80% of what you're able to do, that's a great team member. It's okay for them to use their best judgment and even be wrong at times, because overall, in the aggregate picture, it makes your business look phenomenal. If you are not on the same page with your team in front of your guests, your business is not going to look stellar. And a lot of business owners make this mistake. They want to correct their team member in front of the guest. You never do that. Always, always compliment in public, correct in private.
Compliment in public, correct in private. I really like that. That's fantastic. Where do you see kind of our biggest gap areas, the areas where it's most tempting to fall into kind of transactional behavior instead of relationship? Are there certain kind of danger spots that we should keep an eye out for?
I think the biggest place where I would fall into that is when you just get so busy. When your orders are coming in, when your line is building up, when things are so hectic that you just want to bang them out, right? And that is transactional. And in our talk about relationships and transactions, we don't want to dismiss a transaction. I mean, without transactions, we have no business, right? We need the money, we need the cash flow, we need all that. So, but what we're talking about is treating a person or a client just for the money they give you, not for the value they have long term. But it is very tempting when you're so busy to just not give your full attention and not fully understand their situation. What has allowed the independent mail and shipping store to really thrive in 2025 and 2026, when there are so many options online to ship all these things and just drop it off? The way that the stores that are still doing very well with counter shipping is because they know their clients and they know exactly who they're sending it to. They know exactly what they need, and they take time to have a discussion with them and then suggest the best method. A lot of independent shipping stores have DHL, FedEx, UPS, Postal, all these different options in one place versus being at a carrier counter where you only have one option. And the magic there is that you can have a discussion with that person and guide them to the best option for their needs and budget. And that's truly outstanding. But if you don't take time to have that conversation and you just say, okay, your cheapest option is this or whatever is this, you're not building a relationship. So I think the danger of getting into transactional thinking is when you are too cluttered up in here or cluttered up in here, and you don't take the time to understand your client's needs before you suggest an option to them.
How do you balance that approach of taking time, talking to customers, making it special with speed that we know in our industry is like go, 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 go? And I stood in long lines to send a package. And, you're balancing this customer experience of speed versus personal approach. How do you figure out, Fahim, a good way to balance that or to know if you're doing well?
2 words: pricing and sorting guests. So we have an internal, it's almost like a CRM. Each guest has notes. We have notes on a lot of our guests that come in. So if they're diamond level, then Seema and I will take care of that person personally. They usually have a card on file. We have a third station dedicated towards our diamond level and our frequent drop-off clients. Those are the people that my team knows to direct to one of the 2 owners, and then we engage them in conversation. It's very important to have efficient systems in place. Most stores have been doing this. A lot of the veteran stores have been doing this over 10 years, and they haven't invested in systems. The other thing, Lori, is that they're so type A that they're not willing to let go. Seema and I parent our kids. We have 5 children. 3 of them are valedictorians, the older 3 in their each individual chosen field, right? I'm South Asian, I'm from India, but I'm very atypical Indian. We did not expect our kids to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer or fall into a particular trap of their chosen career. We let them find their way and we allowed them to make small mistakes so that they wouldn't be big ones. The greatest fear that store owners have is when it gets really busy. Oh, one of my team members is going to mess up in estimating and lose the transaction. Well, guess what? What if you yell at that person in a moment of anger and that team member walks away from your entire store? What then?
Yes. Oh, I absolutely. It is so true. And I want to point out something you said there. Again, for everyone listening in our Unboxing Logistics family, we have people across the industry, and many of those are e-commerce stores as well and shippers. And making sure that you have kind of different approaches to different customers. That was something Fahim mentioned there is that, you've got your diamond customers and they're not customers, your guests and your
Diamond level guests.
clients.
Yes.
You've
Yes,
got your
ma'am.
diamond level guests and clients. And you need to make sure that they may be treated slightly differently than somebody who maybe just a one-time person who's come and gone. And same thing if you're having people who are abusing return policies or, you don't have to have a one size fits all. I think that's so important in every relationship. Obviously, Fahim, you and I need a chat. I have 7 kids. So we are the parents rocking it here, but every child has a different approach from me, right? Because it's different needs, different situations, and seeing them as people and as individuals is critical. Okay, this conversation is going so fast, and I'm sad because we need to wrap up already. And I
We
feel like,
do.
Oh,
And
goodness.
I have one thing to say on this,
yeah,
though.
Fahim, go.
And really, really important. I want to end it with this. And because people who are going to listen to us and they're going to be like, this is great. And you've got all this energy and you're talking about relationships, but do you actually make money? Well, let me just share with you Starbucks, American Airlines now turning it around, Delta Airlines, right? Apple. You want to talk about relationship business? So American Airlines is now turning it around. They realize that what Delta and United has done since 2015, they've gone relationship based with their first class premier diamond levels, Hilton and Marriott. Once again, all the people who are pay to play, who are high level clients, their transactions have gone through the roof much higher than if they were just transactional based. When you get
Yep.
into the rewards category, that's what we're trying to suggest to people. Your mailbox clients or your e-commerce clients, get them into a subscription base, treat them like royalty, like specials, and they will continually give you results on a residual income basis, much higher transactions than if you were, just transactional based. That's what I want to hit home.
Love it. And you know what? We live in a world right now, sadly, where there are so many negative interactions in the world. There is so much negativity. There's just so much out there that's so toxic that different experience of feeling like these are my people. These are people who are treating me well, who think of me as a person and not as a number. It can be a massive differentiator for your business. It can be a massive differentiator for your team that you may have in a warehouse. It can be a massive differentiator for why your culture is different. And it does lead to success. Marty, any final words you have as well?
Yeah, no, I say amen to everything that's been said. We've been talking a lot about your team members, and just like we just differentiate customer from guest and client, we don't say employees. We say team members. And that is also an important distinction. You've got to respect them. And I had a rule in my business that everybody vacuums. I vacuum, you vacuum, we all clean the toilet. Like we all do these things. Like I am not on some upper echelon over here and then you're down here doing no, we are partners in a team. And I would frequently refer to them as my coworkers, not my employees or my team members. So I think sometimes just a switch in your vernacular switches your mindset, and then you can really start soaring from there. Yeah.
Words matter. I'm a
Words
word person.
matter.
I've been a writer forever, but
Yeah.
small shifts in words. That's when you read newspapers, if you see ads, a, one word can totally make a change in how you're seeing something. And that's something I'm hearing from you, Marty, over and over is we need to change the way that we address and refer to people. That could be step one. So, everyone who listens knows me. I say, pick a thing. What is one thing you're going to do today? We had a conversation. We had a huge list. Marty and Fahim can probably write a book. They probably will. But
I'm working on one.
So are we.
exactly. Pick
Truly.
one thing. one thing that you're going to implement in 2026, research shows it again and again. If you think you're going to do 272 things, you'll end up doing 0. So pick one. Pick one thing from our conversation today, apply it, actually start doing it, and you will see your business soar. So thank you so much again for being here. I'm going to have you come back because I have so many more questions. How do we scale this? How can we do it on a big stage? What do we do when you don't have people bought in? So we'll have to have you back another time, but this has been really fun.
Love to. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much for
much,
the
Lori.
opportunity and the honor.
Great.
We would love
And-
to come back. We are so grateful.
Great. How could people get in touch with you if they are interested? Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, we are. We're in LinkedIn. Everything is at AYM High Consultants on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and go to aimhigh.com. And our contact is right there. They can reach out to us as well.
These
And it's
two are fantastic.
AYM, by the way.
AYM spelling. But these two are fantastic. I know that they're willing to answer questions to get to know people. They really believe about these relationships, that they're critical. They practice what they preach. So thank you again, and we will see everybody next time.